Test, test, test. Hopefully we've got sound here. I am doing a short live video to show Crisis Mode Kiki. I'm in my parking garage and I've been given donations from Matt, my gaming clan, and my friend Evan has bought me a bunch of supplies in hopes to repair a potential head gasket damaging leak or worse. So, having barely made it here, yesterday I got to Seattle, things seemed fine, started driving during the day, and immediately started overheating, spent 4 hours in a parking lot hardwiring a switch so I could at least turn on the radiator fan, thinking that that would help with my city driving. It did help a little bit. Last night I was attempting to go to Issaquah to buy a $5 OBD2 scanner that's Bluetooth capable, so you basically get any number of apps on your phone. It takes the data from the little reader, which usually they plug up at the auto parts store, or when you're getting your car diagnostics at a mechanic. You hook this little device up and there's thousands of apps you can use. They're not all compatible, but you find the ones that are compatible, and you get real-time data like pressure. You can get temperature readings at specific sensors, airflow readings, coolant temperature, oil temperature, RPMs, things like that, as well as all the codes. And then these apps also lump into that the ability to use their assessments. So they've basically plugged in very specific assistance. Like, you don't just read a code that says you have a high temperature at this valve. It's you have a high temperature at this valve, most likely means one of these things from the other readings you have. So they help you pinpoint with an amazing level of accuracy. You can get closer and closer to the problem. Now, they're not 100%. They're not going to say this is exactly the problem and that is exactly the problem, but they get you goddamn close. Sometimes they will put you right on the problem. And I've done enough work on this car and watched enough videos now that I know the areas that I have attacked, and I know where the problems lie. My problems lie in most likely coolant flow, although air temperature readings are kind of weird, as is the pressure. So the idle air control valve is popping up in some codes. And I know where that's at, and it's gunky. The throttle valve is above the idle air control valve, and I've been spraying this solution, like a cleaner, in the throttle, because I watched Shane do it once. And what I didn't realize was I didn't wipe it out. I sprayed it in and let it just go down. And so in addition to the normal gunk that's in there, the cleaning gunk is in there as well. You look down and it's just all blackened. It doesn't look restricted, but it's blackened. So I know there's some areas there. Air filter is probably clogged. It's hard to say. I vacuumed it, but it might be restricted. So as well, definitely issues with the heater core, because it sometimes blows hot air, sometimes blows cold air. It has it doesn't have the same pressure level at high all the time either. So I know that that's an issue, and it just so happens that where I installed my bedding for a long time was pressed up against the motor underneath there. It's shielded, like it's got a plastic case around it, but this motor also, is it still going? All right. This motor, I don't know. So the potential is maybe all the gear that I used to shove down there by my feet somehow obstructed something, restricted something. No moisture in the car, so it doesn't appear to be leaking. But there definitely, a lot of fingers are being pointed at a coolant flow issue. Radiator has been emptying with these overheatings, but the coolant reservoir is remaining full. So I was thinking for a bit that maybe the radiator's got a blockage. But it is draining. Now, an air bubble is another thing that pops up often. So I've been trying to learn how to burp the coolant system. I feel like I'm doing a decent job, but sometimes air bubbles and air pockets can get trapped at the heater core. So my areas are coolant flow as it pertains to radiator and heater core. I did replace the thermostat, but I've had several reheatings since then. I do have a replacement backup thermostat. Before I conduct these repairs, and what I've been waiting for is to conduct these repairs, go out and drive and have another overheating incident, and I've got to replace the parts that I just put in. I kind of want to have all the parts on hand. But before dumping a bunch of money into parts, I need better diagnostic tools. So I've been trying to offer up the OBD scanners. I'm finding them, but the response times on offer up are kind of slow. It takes a while to get those responses, and I don't have a while. Still have yet to fill out my unemployment paperwork and, follow up with the stimulus stuff. I mean, I'm in the IRS's system, but I don't know if I'm in there, but I'm not able to get it until I file taxes, because I didn't make a lot of money that year. It was like 20 grand, something-ish. I know there's something about 15 grand, so if I'm, outside the range, I got to figure that out, but I haven't been able to sit down and work on my computer. See, all these problems are kind of cascading at this point because I spend all day on my phone. My phone's an Android. It's difficult to first type correctly. My fat ass fingers trying to navigate this skinny keyboard, and I'm trying to input forms, like important forms. Like you can only see the last sentence that you've written, and then it's usually scrolling up, and you got to try and navigate a cell phone. So what I've encountered using my cell phone for everything is it increases time consumption, incredible delays. As far as working, phone calls, Facebooking, it's great. But when I got to start filling out IRS documentation, unemployment documentation, I don't even want to attempt it. So now I'm in the dilemma of I got my iMac working, but I can't power that in the vehicle, especially a vehicle that's not able to run and charge the alternator. The parking garage has a sneaky little outlet that I found. I didn't park there because it wasn't in an area that's where I can just remain by the little booth where they have their little ticket machine. But I can discreetly run a power cord. And so I was able to charge my battery pack, but the battery pack won't power the iMac. I need to get my laptop running. Laptop is critical. Laptop can power off the battery pack. Laptop has a battery, so I can take it around. Laptop I can take with me to a coffee shop and charge it. So, and it's not a difficult repair. I just need to make a recovery disk, a recovery USB, which I got a $5 16 gig recovery USB yesterday, brand new, only for recovery operations. So I need to populate that with the data, get the laptop running, and then I can handle all, no matter where I'm at. I can then become homeless and just go sit around in a fucking park and fill out my assistance work. So all these things considered, I've got a lot of diagnostics still to do to pinpoint the actual problem. I have $228 left, so of the $350 donation, I've got a trunk full of, I got a full oil change. I got like 6 quarts of oil. I've got an oil filter. I've got a thermostat. I've got some hoses. I've got a radiator flush. I've got a head gasket repair. I've got an oil treatment and oil system leak sealer from Lucas. Lucas products and Blue Devil are super, super good reviews on both those products. I've got some more hand cleaner. I got some fucking shop towels. Like I've got some donations. They're definitely going to help. I was going to use this money to either get a room, because with a room now comes the opportunity of time. I can park the car there if it's a house, or if it has a parking spot. I'm a little more empowered to, have some time. At this point, I've opted to use Javier. Javier has a bunch of coils and spark plugs are definitely on this list of misfire issues. So it's like there's a bunch of parts I can go out and buy and put them in, and then they might not even solve the problem. So Javier is going to come pick me up. Got to return he's a little irritated with me because I got brakes, and I got a timing belt, or not timing belt, a serpentine belt, and I got a thermostat housing with the hose, but I wasn't able to use those because they weren't going to fix the problem. I was stuck at Matt's house for a week. I haven't worked for 2 weeks almost. So I was stuck at Matt's house for a week in his garage, sleeping in his garage. I slept in his garage. Holy shit, I slept in the garage. That's funny. On my car, working on it. And I left his house. I had one day before these issues happened. I shouldn't have been driving around in the daytime. I thought I could get away with it. Because, every time I stop, before I start it again, I cool it down. I use I do the burping, proper ratios of coolant to water. It's still, and then it just blows white smoke. Last night I was by El Corazon, and I stopped because I saw these porta potties. I'm like, fuck yeah. And they were all locked, of course. And I said, fuck this. I filled my fucking backpack with tools. And I went there and I fucking wailed on those pop reds, and I got into one. And I used it. It's fucking stupid with this no public restroom bullshit. They've reduced public restrooms dramatically. And so you got to use the restroom during business hours. And for me, most often it has to come with me working in Instacart. The grocery stores will be pretty chill, but 9 o'clock, forget about it. Those restrooms are closed. So it's been a juggle. So I kind of thought I'd take an opportunity to show you, Javier's going to come snatch me up. I'm going to get that diagnostic tool. He has some coils. He has a car full of stuff for this car. Literally, all he does is collect and sell parts for 2005 Honda Civics. So I'm going to, he's going to come pick me up. He's mad. There's a little bit of a language barrier. He's mad because I got the parts and I haven't paid him yet. But I talk to him every day. And I said, Javier, I can't get to you right now. The car is not working. And then once I realized that I don't need brakes to start a car, and the brakes would be nice. They're brand new brakes. They're good. They're Honda brakes. So that's good. It's like, if I could buy Honda parts, that would be ideal too. Apparently the Civics are a little finicky, and they, hit or miss with aftermarket. You go OEM and, things are smooth. But of course, they're more expensive. But anyways, I was like, I wanted these brakes. And I'm like, hey, Javier, I got to give you back the brakes and stuff. And I was talking to him today, or I messaged him. He's like, you lie. You not pay me. And I'm like, Javier, man, I said, if you go to a store and you buy an item and it doesn't work out, or it's not the right item, you can return the item. I've got your parts for you right here. I said, I've got money right now, and I'm going to go spend it. And do you want some of that? And he's like, I'm in Ballard, I'll come to you. And I'm like, this guy's fucking incredible. So he's going to come to me. I think he has a handful of the parts that I need too. Fan switch, coolant temperature sensor switch, or coolant temperature sensor. I was going to get one coil, even though I might need 2, 3, or even 4, but one coil so that you have one good coil for doing the testing. Spark plugs. What else? I haven't delved too much into idle air control, but I'm thinking I could remove the throttle body and clean it. And I have all the cleaning supplies here as well. I got brake cleaner, I got a throttle body cleaner, and parts cleaner. It's a combination throttle body, idle air, and parts cleaner instead of a specific throttle body cleaner. And so I should be able to do a bulk of this, but what I need to be able to do is not have issues tomorrow. Now, as this parking garage is beneath a large building that is the primary source of the people that park here, and I've already spoken with maintenance, and they thought I was one of the Mexican cleaning people. And so I'm really discreet, and I was going to kind of show you guys, this is my spot so that you can see how discreet it is. But, you come this way, you've got, this big, long garage. There's like a little nook right in there, and then there's another nook around the other side of that little booth. Third nook on the right. And there's another nook over there, and then there's the exit. Nice view on a good day. And so you come around here, And these spots are usually filled last. So you come in here, and look at me all tucked away. Boop! Mini car, it's so tiny. And so you come up, and I've finished my window shrouds. Did a pretty good job. You know, with the reflections and the light in here, it's kind of hard to tell what's going on, but that's tape. And so, hopefully we're still live. Yeah, we're still live. Signal's gonna be a little bit rough right here. So we've got tape, but it's pretty shrouded. Almost just looks like dark tint. Boop. Little bit of a anomaly to repair there. But, you know, even if someone parks, they're just going to glance right. They're not going to scrutinize it. They're going to see, oh, there's a parked car. Boop, doop. Boopy doop. Let's see if this live will still work. And you come in, and this is Kiki mode in Crisis, or Kiki in Crisis mode. I've installed the desk with the iMac, and I've got my bedding right there. Whoop. Front seat becomes storage and masking. Once again, I've got a scarf hanging there. Boop. She's just so comfortable, man. Like, I literally can live in here comfortably for a long time. It's the mobility that then cripples you. So my employment, which is reliant on transportation, is really not ideal right now, because if I'm using my car to transport me for work and I'm using my car to live in, if I lose the job, I lose the car. If I lose the car, I lose the job. They're kind of intertwined, you know. Without the job, I'm immobile. I have no money. I can't make any repairs. And even if the car is running, I basically can park somewhere. So I've kind of worked myself into a little bit of a corner in that I have no income if I'm not driving. So I can't right now generate revenue. And that's my biggest hurdle is, you know, I owe some people money. You know who you are. And so, like, I'm frantically trying to generate money. So the rock and the hard place is, well, that means fixing the car. The car could be lost. You know, after I do these repairs today, if they don't work, I'm fucked. That's why this is a really hard decision, is how do I best spend the end of my resources? I can't even get on the computer right now. That's where I opted. I'm just going to do the repairs first, because I'm not trying to do unemployment and stuff on my cell phone. It's just too messy. It's too messy, too long. So as soon as Javier gets here, I'm going to get these parts, and I need to get fucking back here stat. And I'm taking shit apart. And then as long as I can disguise it in the morning, you know, I'll lay low, sleep in the car during the day. And should anything, and once again, while we're still on the COVID, there's not going to be any issues, I think. Should there be issues, I can't drive the car to move it, but I can push the car to move it. So my plan is, should I get one of them little notifications, should there be any funds remaining, I'll deposit a little bit of money in that machine each day, and then just play dumb like I stayed late. And that way they can at least see that I'm paying for a spot somewhat. But I don't think that's going to be an issue yet. Should the car become long-term disabled, then there's going to have to be this tricky little nighttime operation of moving the car. And we'll see how long it takes for it to get towed. So this needs to work. This needs to work tonight. So this is the start of the stream. I was going to, as far as this room goes, I'm going to, because the clan is missing me, and you know, I did not realize, I was kind of touched actually, that they're all like hunting me down right now. And there's this whole conversation on the forums about me being dead and that he can't survive in a car during COVID. And the reality is I have less contact with people than anybody else. So I'm probably the safest right now. But what I realized there is, you know, instantly the kid that contacted me, his name is Wartech. He lived up here for about a couple months with his sister. And he came out to my house and we did some gaming. from that realization, you know, the gaming plan has always been a part of this project. But I think if I once I get this laptop going, I need to develop the gaming portal again, and then it should be active on there daily in the chat rooms and whatnot, because I can enable tipping and I can enable donations, you know, give them my Cash App information, anyone that wants to donate, maybe get some volunteers, people to help me, just dial in the internet side. Like I kind of can do it all myself, but like it's the time-consuming uploading, downloading, arranging of the content, you know, giving the folders names and the albums names, and piecing it together so it looks pro, where people can click on it, go in, and it doesn't look like some rookie throwing a bunch of fucking content up there, just vomiting, shotgunning a bunch of content onto the page. You know, it's going to need to be organized by, you know, within each region. Like, there's going to be DJ streams. I've got my tutorials. I've got Archibald the Archivist. It's the Tech Challenger tutorials, Archibald the Archivist, my video blog, which is just when I have like these, I have like 6 20, 30-minute just talking sessions where I'm talking about what I've been doing and the reality of the situation, the mistakes I've made, and what I've learned. And I got hours, like maybe 4 hours of that. So I got my video blog. I've got random, just little funny shorts. I've got Kiki, you know, the building of Kiki, a lot of that, where I'm showing the repair work we've been doing, the stereo work, things like that. So, you know, I got a lot of content, but, you know, and it requires editing. Now, even if a piece of content is good, it needs a watermark, it needs a border, it needs metadata programmed into it so that anyone clicking on it can have, you know, all the data, where it was, who it was, what's the name of it, what's the series. You know, you need to have all that shit in there. You can't say Samsung 00100-532.1.9, you know, .r, AR, or whatever. You know, none of those are actually what it says. It's just basically that's how it would read. So I got to populate all that data with the name of the series or the name of the particular piece of content, and the dates, or the dates should be actually already on there. And so it's a lot of just data entry that I have to do, which is overwhelming when, you know, you work most of your day in Instacart, because it's a hustle and you travel long distances and it's time consuming. It can be lucrative, but it's putting wear and tear on your car. You're increasing the weight in your car. I have been traveling with a lot of weight, probably because I have been traveling with the car loaded for journey. I took a bunch of it out at Matt's house. Now it's mostly loaded down with fluids, like car repair fluids. And so, you know, that's where the roof rack comes in. That's where the little trailer tow comes in, or the trailer mounted, I guess, hitch assembly. So I'm still trying to figure out how to make her the vehicle for this road trip. But the reality is dawned that now, if I get this car running, I don't know that I should still even try Instacart. I'm going to have to initially, but I then need to switch my focus to, I mean, and at that point, if the car is limping out of here, I'm not going to do Instacart. I'm going to park it under the bridge, and I'm going to take buses and walk. And at the same time, you know, unemployment's going to take some time to get approved. So, you know, I'll apply for the right jobs. I'm not going to apply for the wrong jobs. I also still haven't prepared my data for the labor lawyer, just to kind of, you know, see if I can't get a reversal of that decision and or damages at this point, because this has now thrust me into this fucking spiral of money pit devouring resources. It's a mess. So I still need insurance. Driving around a bunch without insurance and without registration is also risky. That's a whole nother can of worms, possibly losing my license. So at this point, driving Instacart is my only recourse. My only ability to generate resources is through Instacart. And, but it's very risky right now. And as delicate and as fragile as everything is at this point, you know, Evan, who's not in this chat, he's not allowed to be yet, he's fucking goddamn beastly some days. Fucking Evan, Jesus Christ. Anyways, he's like, you need to do Instacart. And I'm like, no, Evan, I'll do Instacart later. Right now, it's just too risky. And he interprets that as, I'm never willing ever again to work Instacart. And I'm like, I'm just getting into arguments with him over this. And I'm like, no, because if I drive Instacart, I dramatically increase my risk. I'm at the point right now where risk-taking with the vehicle is not an option. I need to turtle up and be safe, because transportation right now is home. Had I, and this is where me and Evan got in another argument about, Airbnbs. I found Airbnbs for $20-something bucks a day. They're not near Seattle. I got to go a little bit outside Seattle, but an Airbnb with residual income, i.e. unemployment, would be amazing, because I could park the car, be in a region where, finding work's going to be a little more challenging unless it's freelance work. And, then I could work on freelance. I could work on the content. I could sit there and not have to leave home and have the ability to work, on these projects with the correct materials. One of the saving graces of the whole computer side of things and the editing, the iMac's not practical in the vehicle. It will consume a lot of power, and so there will be a lot of idling of the vehicle to generate energy, which I've discovered it's probably that idling of the vehicle in winter that was the problem. Driving short distances, or not fully loading the automotive system. So if you drive 5 minutes and then you stop, then an hour later you drive 5 minutes and stop, what happens is there's moisture in oil, and the moisture condenses after you stop inside the casing. And so that's the moisture that's getting in the oil is not necessarily coolant. It's condensation that forms. And this condensation doesn't get a chance to burn off if you're driving short distances in short spurts, or and that's why I realized this. I'm like, oh fuck, all through winter I just sat there and idled the car 10 minutes at a time. So I wasn't even loading the car down. I'm developing condensation. This condensation is forming, it's building up. And then, it was definitely got to be coolant, because I got white smoke. Yeah, last night, the entire way, big plumes of white smoke. That's something that was doing damage to the car. So the whole AC side of things and the way I've been doing it is not practical, which is why the deep cycle battery setup is going to become very important in the very near future. If I need to use AC and I need to use it for a duration, I need to have some reserve charge, and then I can last a lot longer. I could last several hours, with the computer, and then I can actually start the car and run it. Take it for a drive, come back, deep cycle setup's charged up again, and then I have several more hours. So I just got to change the way I operate. But yeah, I don't know if anyone knew that. I didn't know that. Oil has moisture. Who'd have thunk it? Anyways, I need to get back and chill in Kiki, and I got to take a dump, and I am nowhere near a dumping ground. So we'll see what I can do there. Signing out.